see if this is better.
All right, we're live on X, and we are live. We're not live yet
Yeah,
on
I think this is better.
Substack. Stream is pending until broadcast software connects. All right, we're live on Substack. All right, so hello everyone. We're
Good
back
morning.
with Daily Crypto News, live with Kyle and Matt. Hi, Kyle. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Um,
Good.
kind of exhausted after like
Is
two
exhausted being
back-to-back.
hungover?
No, um, did have a few drinks last night, but no, did not. I was hungover maybe yesterday
Oh,
after
okay. So
going
it is happening.
going to multiple drinking events, like events with drinks in Denver here. But just no overall like really tired from two back-to-back weeks of crypto events here, and we can definitely get into them about where I was. But yeah, have been here in Denver
Absolutely.
all week, and it's the peak Ethereum conference, so a lot to talk about.
So today we're going to go over everyone who's joining us live on Substack and on X. If you guys leave any comments in there, we will look at them and answer them if there are questions or whatever. Also, oh wait, that's me talking. But today we're going to we're going to talk about the Bybit hack, and we're going to do some updates there. Kyle's going to roll over or run through his time in ETH Denver and Mountain DAO. He's going to talk about DePIN a little bit, where he was at a conference interviewing some people in the space, multiple conferences actually. There's a couple news about what's happening with the macroeconomic aspects, Trump slump, if you will, maybe tariffs, a lot of geopolitical issues, and then we have some listener questions, and some are interesting, and they stem from Daily Crypto News. My comments on AI, some about the Bitcoin price, because as you see, the number went down, and I'm still bullish. So y'all gotta chill. But where are we gonna start, Mr. Kyle? Let's start with you. Fill everybody in. Go through Mountain DAO and ETH Denver.
Yeah, so why don't we start with Mountain DAO? So I was at Mountain DAO last week, which was to maybe take a look at this, the 16th or February 17th to the 23rd. So about a week. Um, and it's a Solana event. I wouldn't say it's specific to Solana, but it's a month long. They've been doing it since like 2022. I think this is the seventh or eighth iteration of it, and it's it's really grown to be a kind of premier Solana builder event. It lasts a month long. They've been doing it every February. Now they do it in August as well. And it's really, really interesting to see some of these projects building on the front lines there. There's a lot of interesting collaboration that always occurs. Um, some of the projects, because I went to the first one and have gone to, I think, four of them so far. So more than half. And yeah, just like a lot of the projects have gone through like different life cycles. And this most recent one was definitely the most populated. Like at one day I was there, they said they posted in like the private chat that they had the most people on a single day overall ever at a Mountain DAO. It was over 200 people. So it's a
That's great.
pretty like it's not, it's not an ETH Denver like this where there's thousands of people. But there's pretty it's a very close knit group of people there. And while I was there during that week, Anatoly, the founder of Solana, was there. Austin Federa, former Solana comms leader, who now runs, and the name is escaping me. He's co-founding another project that, interestingly enough, is like entirely focused on improving like cable capacity, like understand like and this gets into some of the DePIN stuff we can potentially talk about, but it's like it's essentially like about improving throughput in like all the little like cables we have in the world, right? And so yeah, interesting to think about, like, he's like, we're not having a token, He gave a presentation during one day when I was there too. So like Mountain Dow,
Is he
they
the
have
guy who
like
did
a lot.
Telco?
Um,
Is it Telco that he did?
Austin Federa. I don't know if is it Telco. um, it's his project's called the Double Zero Foundation. Yeah.
Oh, the Double Zero.
Um,
That's right. Okay, I got that one. All right, cool.
yeah. And so, anyways, there's just a lot of really cool builders there. Like one of projects that probably highlight that everyone is like buzzing about is MetaDAO, and it's a project based on Futarchy, which is like that um, all decisions can be um, all decisions can be made through like prediction markets and like um, economic forces. So everything in the governance of and every decision in the DAO is at least not every one of them, but the majority of them are executed through like decision making on on prediction markets. So just like imagine Polymarket, and then you have a proposal for the DAO, and then people are just literally giving the DAO's token, meta token, for what they want. And it's not like governance tokens; it's like the actual token. Um, it's worth a ton of money. It's like I think it's over like $1,300 for a meta token. So it's really good. They have some really cracked builders. They're based in San Francisco too, which is cool. And yeah, just Mountain Down, really cool spot. So if you're interested in Solana, um, but there's a lot of other projects. You don't have to be a Solana builder to be there. Um, yeah, their next one will be in August. But there's people who are they rented the workspace for a whole year. So if you did want to go to Salt Lake City, you can contact them and you can rent a desk at a different time. But at least in February and August, if you apply, you can go for free. So you just apply, you follow them on Twitter, Mountain Dow. They will release a form that you can apply for. You don't have to be from a project. Like a part of this is like there are guys who go there who are like freelance builders. There will be projects that will say like we need help on this type of engineering today. Is like anyone available? And there are kind of like freelance builders who will go around and like help projects like one day and then go help another project another day. It's really cool to watch. There's like
So what about
even projects that get created from it too. So it's fun.
so what about East Denver? Like how's that? Is it still popular? You said that there's like thousands of people there. I saw that the venue was more of a stadium looking thing than like what they used to have. They used to have like a conference, not a conference center. It's more like a warehouse district.
Yeah,
When I was
this
going.
was they do it in like a rodeo convention center. So
Okay.
like one of the complaints I would have is yeah, like if you have to go watch a speech down in the basement, like you have to just walk through a couple floors of like it smells like you're at a farm. Smells like animals. um yeah, so like that's one aspect. Like one of the people I know who was a sponsor to the event said they were surprised at how unrefined the event was and is. Um, and yeah, like it's definitely fun. But yeah, like I just don't think the current event center lends it to be uh like a super nice event. Um, Patrick and
So
I were
I've
talking.
been to
Um,
East Denver 3 times already, and that's why
mhm.
I really didn't want to go because I've already been. And they've had it at, like I said, this like warehouse, and they had multiple rooms, like a chill room, a vibe with like vibes, big bean bags, DJs. Then they had like a hacker room where hackers would just kind of like or coders, devs would just hang out. Then I remember they had there's a couple main stages, a side stage. Then they had podcasting rooms where KOLs to go over there and just hang out and talk to people, interview, and it was a really well done, really nice event. What happened? Did they change their event team or?
No, I mean, they changed the event venue, and it has just ballooned into being a really massive thing. I mean, it's not to say that people didn't go to it previously, From what I understand, it's always been pretty busy, but um, it's just it's just really big, right? So that lends to a little bit of chaos, I would say. But Patrick and I were talking about this, and we said, there's so many side events going on. That's another thing. There's no so many side events that you almost want to go hang out at the side events because the lineup is at panels and speakers
Yep.
is very high quality, and it's usually in a very nice hotel or something like that in the downtown. So it's in like a much nicer space with
Yep. Is that token pump
yeah,
money? Yep.
like high. But no, it's like it might even be in like a nice brewery. Like some of these have been in like bar settings where it's like, yeah, this is a nice like kind of indoor bar with and then they just set up seats and stuff, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is nice too. What, like, because ETH Denver is free, like, you don't need to pay to go to it. And this was one of the things that we were trying to talk about is like, okay, how do you improve it? Well, what you would do is you would make it so that like the main event is only one day, and you make that paid for. Um, and then you prioritize the people going to that, with a very high quality lineup, but then you decentralize everything else and you include all of these side events as potentially like a part of the real event, and then like make everybody have to like register and stuff to go to those events, but somehow find a way to like prioritize some of these side events so that like I don't know, there's just better themes because there's some of them where there's just like nobody going, and it's like, okay, why is this even happening, right? These like random panels that are just going on. We popped into some of them and we're just like, okay, this is just I'd rather be back at this other one, right? So, anyways, it's been overall very nice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interaction. There's a lot going on. It turns into a whirlwind and chaos. Like, we were kind of saying it's a little bit hard to be an extrovert like all day, every day. Um, Not to say I
It
mean,
is.
I'm not even an introvert. Like I can talk to anybody, but yeah, it starts to get exhausting when you're doing it for 9 hours a day, um,
It,
for 5 days in a
100%.
row. Because
100%.
yeah,
100%.
it's been
Yeah,
fun
no,
though.
I've like I said, I've been to the ETH Denver multiple times. Consensus. Think they had didn't they have a ETH New York? I can't remember. Anyway, the side events is it's where it's at. You go there, you go to the conference, you hang out, you meet up with people, you shake some hands, talk to some people, and basically say, "Hey, where are we meeting up later?" And then go to all to the
Yeah,
side parties, and
but I
it's
mean, it's
it
not
gets
to say. I
wild.
mean, there was cool stuff at the main event. Like Eigenlayer had a like robot that you could talk to. That like it was a very high quality. Like we tried really hard to like school it on Eigenlayer and on crypto, and it had this funny little voice. You can find clips of it on Twitter. Arbitrum had a really sick booth. Uniswap's booth was really cool. So there were definitely cool things at the main event. Like we're gonna go to it later today, like and go check it out again. There's some cool
So
stuff. Um,
let's get into some of these other topics. Thanks for
mhm.
filling us in on Mountain Dow and ETH Denver. But give us a quick 1 minute definition. What is DPIN?
Deepin, yeah. So we spent a day at the side event, Deepin Day as well. So if you're a DCN person, watch out for some interviews. We'll be dropping a bunch of content. Must have interviewed like 10 or 12 DPIN projects. And so what DPIN stands for is it's decentralized physical infrastructure. Um, and it touches many different industries. Um, what we almost discovered is that DPIN should have its own like conference and be able to touch on like a ton of different things. And so it can be anything from like gain energy from having a solar panel and earn crypto on that to
Hmm.
uh, you know, using the Wi-Fi on your phone, like Helium Mobile, that's a decentralized like mobile network to
Hmm.
yeah, having like a hardware thing in your house that runs like its own GPU computer, uh, and it's just like powering more for the world, right? Like you're just setting up like a server to help power
So kind of
more.
like what Render does, decentralized GPU rendering infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly. Render was one of the projects we interviewed, their
Mm.
CEO. So yeah, like just stuff like that. So I mean, it's all over the place. Like I mean, you really lots of things are in the world are deep in now. Like even if you have like an iPhone watch or an iPhone, whatever, I'm not an Apple Watch, um, something like that would be in a way like decentralized physical infrastructure because you're like processing data. It's not necessarily like a blockchain version of that, right? But it's processing that type of data. It's giving you real-time information. It's decentralized. If you think of doing something like that and running it on blockchain rails, but you could do like your dishwasher, and then like process and get the data for like every time your dishwasher runs, and it's like, maybe you're saving water, and then you could get, incentivized to save water.
Hmm.
I don't know. There's like there's so many different ways we learned that DeepIn is like being used is accessible. The big thing,
So what?
I'll just say this: one of the main talking points to draw from that was every DeepIn project spoke in the language of we have X number of users and we have X number of revenue. Um, they really spoke in the language of revenue and users, where not a lot of crypto projects do that. DeepIn, it was very tangible. We have X many people who bought our product this month, this many people last year, and we're bringing in, $6 million every month or something like.
Uh, Great.
Um,
So how? So tell me about some projects that you saw over there. If you can run through like for the next couple of minutes, like some of the projects you interviewed and some of the projects and what they're doing. And I'll pull them up on the website, on their websites over here, and give people a show so people could maybe start getting more familiar with projects in Deepin.
yeah. Well, one of the main sponsors was this project called Fluence. Um, we interviewed, I think, two of the people there. Um, it's a just decentralized computation cloud, and so I think this was one of the people Patrick interviewed. But what I understood was, yeah, they're just like a decentralized cloud that's helping build a greater like computation network for the world. Maybe I'm wrong
So
though.
there's so just cloud computing.
Yeah, decentralized. There was Fluence. There was this one. Actually, let me see if I can find it. Spexy. Uh,
Spexy.
yeah, this one was cool. If you just Google SPEXI, where you can buy one of their or you can buy a certain type of drone and like fly it, and they'll pay you for the imagery as you fly
Mm.
it over certain places. You had to buy like specific types of drones, but they said, if you buy one and then fly it, it usually will repay itself after 2 or 3 flights. So that was kind of good to know.
Wow,
But
that's
but
crazy. So
yeah,
wait,
it's
what are
like
they doing?
high
They're
tech.
just doing very detailed, like Google Maps.
Yeah, super detailed maps of the world, and you fly your drone, and they pay you for the data and imagery that you get on the drone
Interesting.
through crypto. It's a crypto thing. There was another one that was called um, Glow Foundation, GLOW, which was um, just solar panels like on your house, and you earn Bitcoin through solar panels, like the energy of the solar panels. That one was cool.
So what was the name of the solar panel one?
Glow, GLOW, Glow Foundation.
GLOW, Deepin, Globe Foundation.
Yeah, I can get a bunch of like makeup stuff.
That's basically what Power Ledger did back in the day, or they
Oh
wanted
yeah.
to do. You guys remember? You remember Power Ledger?
No.
Yeah, Power Ledger was I
don't.
think a 2018 project that tried
There
to
we
do the
go.
same thing,
Glow
just
glow.org.
decentralize.
Yeah, there we
This
go.
is not it.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah.
So they wanted to decentralize power as well. So just basically everybody can fractionalize and give power back to the grid if they weren't using it, and they could get paid crypto for their power for the most part. And this sounds
Okay.
pretty much like that. I wonder if Power Ledger is still a thing.
Yeah, another one was Akave, AKAVE, where they were like decentralizing data. Um, and they're actually working with Filecoin to this was something we saw announced at the media day there. We went to like a media event and they announced that together with Akave and Filecoin, they will be launching, putting the Defiance entire catalog of media and articles on blockchain. So that was
and,
interesting
and
to
who's
hear.
who's this again? What was it called?
Akave, AKAVE, like agave, but with a K.
Gotcha. Akave.
Yeah, I mean, DeepIn it's just like a really interesting concept because again, it just like kind of can touch many different industries. It's not just strictly like, DeFi. Um, it's thinking of like, an iPhone or an Apple Watch, like, just like all these different decentralized things that we have. Um, it's about different ways of using that data and monetizing that data for people. Um,
Right.
it could even be, hey, I'm running this on a MacBook. How do I, um, you know, incentivize and pay for like when my computer is idle? You could sell the idle computation power, right? Like that's something because there's a lot of computers that just sit around all day. And if you could tap into it and send a network like um what render does, right? Like render, uh you can almost do that with render, like rent your power to them. And if you're like
Mhm.
an artist building like a crazy 3D model that needs um really high
Lots of computational
computation,
power. Right.
yeah,
GPU. Yep.
computation power to like execute, um then yeah, you can like almost like sell your power to them and rent it. So if your computer
Right.
was just going to sit all day, like, or if you had a GPU hardware thing, like Aether is a project. They weren't at the DeepIn Day, but they're another DeepIn project. They're someone who you can just like literally buy like a hardware device and have it sit at your house, and you run it at your house, and they'll pay you a ton of tokens. And they're
So
another
the
project that's
reason
about like building and increasing computation of the world and like making gaming better through just having faster computers.
So the reason why I really wanted to go through this is that a lot of people just think, especially newer people in the space, they come in, they see, meme coins, Trump coin, Haktua, whatever, and they don't or weren't they weren't here, and it's really hard to get to that part of the conversation because 2017, 2018 times of crypto and before that were all about ideas and making companies based off of these new ways to envision internet of things and decentralized, fractionalized ways to either make or distribute resources or assets. And a lot of these companies or these ideas were the basis of investments or investments in air quotes or ICOs and money raises and seed investments and things like that. And so I don't feel that in the 2025 landscape you see a lot of that conversation as the forefront. You see more of a pump, rug, meme culture, influence, sort of ways to move a meme economy, which is now considered by the SEC a collectible, without the underlying understanding that there are a lot of amazing ideas from either blockchain or just coming out with the decentralized idea or space that are quite revolutionary to the way you think of ownership, money, assets, and having anything around your house. And how do you make a little maybe side hustle out of your, like you said, render, and you have a computer with substantial GPUs just hanging around that you don't touch often. Um, and you can how can you monetize that? Or like there's a guy in Ohio, and I think that's pretty cool. Would you say the name was Skeppy? What was it?
Oh, Spexy.
Spexy. So there's this guy in Ohio. It's called a Drone Ohio, and every day he's flying drones everywhere. He has hundreds of thousands of followers of just Ohio pictures of going and saying, "Hey, look at Beechwood, Ohio," or "Look at this apartment complex. Look at this this Metro Parks." And
Hmm.
I didn't know that he could be doing this and making money by selling these pictures and in a blockchain or a decentralized manner. So there's a lot of ideas out there that I hope people start looking a little deeper than say meme coins, because that's what I see a lot of. I want to move on and start going through a little bit of news and then to listener questions. Let's talk about the impact of what's been happening in the macroeconomics and geopolitical aspects right now. We have Trump tariffs that are going to start kicking in this coming week, unless there's a change, and that's Canada, Mexico. We have proposed tariffs on the EU, um, and it's freaking out the markets. And as you know, the crypto market, as much as everybody wants to say Bitcoin is a hedge against X, Y, and Z, Bitcoin follows the markets. If you're going to have a drop in the stock market, if you have ETFs, if you have institutional money flowing in there, they're going to handle and manage that money the same way as they're going to manage any other investment. If it's in Apple stocks or the S&P or any kind of like derivatives, they're going to manage crypto in the same kind of idea. So if you're freaking out the markets, you're freaking out the markets. And Bitcoin, sorry, is part of the markets. And Bitcoin has dropped significantly over the past past week. We're flying high at around 100K, and we went down and we touched 79 the other day, and now we're sitting, I think, at about 84. Do you have any insights about what you feel in the future is? I have, obviously. Maybe I'll start with, yeah. You go, bro. Go. What's your ideas about geopolitical issues? We're talking about Russia, Ukraine, tariffs, Trump, the SEC, the new administrations. We have David Sachs. He put out a tweet that there's going to be a crypto summit. I think it was March 7th in the White House, and there's going to be a lot of CEOs from the industry there. So what's your whole take on everything?
Well, I think the high level is, markets like stability, and increasing markets like stability. And so I don't think we have a super stable, uh, situation right now in the geopolitics of the world. People don't really know what's going to happen in a lot of ways. Like there's even the ceasefire of Israel and Palestine that's supposed to come up uh, soon as well. So that could kickstart again and get going. And it's again. So my point is like the macro thing, as you said, is like the prices are getting hit and are seeing the effect of that. Overall, crypto has seen a decent pump over the last like 6 months. So overall, the market is still, I would say bullish. We're still in the midst of like this little blip forward and blip up. It wasn't too long ago. It was still 60K for Bitcoin, so it's still up. Um, you know, Reaching all-time highs and then coming back down a little bit is somewhat normal. And so you could see, as you said, once there's this summit, maybe there's some more stability that comes from at least the crypto market specifically. Who knows what's going to happen with any of these geopolitical issues and what other geopolitical issue could arise. Um, it's just impossible to predict the variables of those situations. Um, but yeah, I mean, looking Ethereum and Solana crushed this past week. You know, the funny thing here about ETH Denver is like nobody's really talking about price, um, which is something really curious. Like the market is somewhat down, and you're not hearing a lot of people talking about ETH price, um, or Bitcoin price. Like it's not in a lot of conversations. Um, anyways, I think the market is still in good shape for um like what could happen in the future, right? Like it's fine, but yeah, it's gonna need to pick up for things to be viewed as better and improving.
Yeah, no, I kind of markets do move because there are traders that trade on news, trade on political news, geopolitical, economic news, the unemployment rates, and every little uh, basis point mention up 25 basis points or whatever, or 25 bips or whatever they want to say. Then somebody's gonna trade on that. And I think in the whole like macro of it, it's like there we haven't been more bullish in the space than we are right now. And so I think that anybody who is kind of pessimistic on the long term, and I'm not talking about maybe in the next couple months, maybe tariffs are enacted, maybe there is going to be inflation, maybe there's going to be a little bit of pain, maybe there's going to be question marks about like NATO and alliances, and which is bad on like that playing field. But if you're also talking at the same time where the SEC is rolling back, cases that they're bringing against Binance, Coinbase, and all these other companies, XRP, Ripple. If you're rolling those back, if you have Hester Peirce as being the head of the SEC's attempt to figure out how to classify cryptocurrencies, if you have the White House making rules for the industry and making sure that we are not only rolling forward as an industry in the crypto industry, but also AI and investments and infrastructure within tech, then and you're bearish, then I think that you're just not paying attention to the forward movement of the industry. And when we're talking about that, we're also talking about two different levels here. The first level we're talking about is obviously the superficial one, which is the price. Number will go up. And it's interesting you mentioned Ethereum Denver, is that nobody's talking about the price. And 3 weeks ago, when meme coins were bulling, everybody was like, "Oh, Solana is crushing ETH, and ETH isn't doing it, and ETH is a stable coin, and all that stuff." And then when Malay tweeted out Libra, and it was like the final nail in the coffin of people being a little bit despondent on the whole shadiness of meme coins, then everybody's like, "Oh, Ethereum is the only serious network," and everybody's like saying Ethereum gets a huge pump and it goes up to almost $3,000 again, and everybody's like, "Oh, now Ethereum's back." It's fickle. But what are people building? And that's the layer two I want to talk about. Again, DPIN, DeFi, DAOs, governance, and different ways to think about how you engage in economies and what you think about how assets are created. Just really quick, I want to just also look at if everybody's going to get a inside shot of my notes that I take every day for the podcast, and I have notes going back all the way. But anyway, this is what I want to show people is from the podcast the other day when I was talking about the cycles of, say, Bitcoin and prices. You're going to have 20, 30, 40% drops throughout a bull run cycle. Now, I don't know if this bull run is going to be different than the last 4-year cycles. I don't know if because we have ETFs and we have proper legislation and regulation to try to answer some of these questions that we've been asking for many years, um, if it's going to follow the same patterns. But if you look at the history of Bitcoin, you have had multiple 30, 40% pullbacks. I mean, let's just take a look at the 17 run, which was my favorite because of my first one. And I remember going through panics every time I saw Bitcoin go up to $3,000 and drop to, 1900, which was 37%. Oh my God, everybody said it was over. And then you saw that $5,000 run up from 1900 to $5,000. and then it dropped back down to 3. Then we saw the 11,500 and drop back down to 8,500, a 26% pullback before we hit the peak of almost 20 grand. And that was up from, say, the 2016 when we right around the halving, where we were just breaking back up to all-time highs of $1,000, $1,100 from the last bull run. And so this is like you're seeing these pullbacks, and people really don't have this perspective of we've been through it, we've seen it. We're at $85,000 Bitcoin right now. Just relax. We're doing good. And coupled with all the things that we just talked about, I am extremely bullish. And even though Trump is shaking things up politically, I don't know how that's gonna play out. There's also building blocks of, I would say, a good possible future.
Definitely. No, I think
All
that
right.
graphic's really great at showing the volatility and kind of the I guess like punches you should expect to your bags as this goes along. Recently we did see I think this is something we've talked about, is that the market was really choppy in that it wasn't seeing a lot of volatility, but here we're finally seeing this pullback. And so is it possible it slingshots forward? Who knows? We're at that time where even the Bitcoin halving of last year should start to see some demand on, or at least some demand pressure from miners. And so you never know.
Never know. So look, anyway, long story short, just to put a little bow in that, I am still very bullish on the future of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin price and the crypto price. Now, one thing I do want to ask you too, and I think we should, a question that a lot of people have, and actually I think this is one of our listener questions. Let me just look up one of the listener questions. Everyone expects, oh man, yeah, let me just put this up here really quick because I do want to address some of these things from listeners. Where is my screen? There you go. So Jamie asked a question or made a statement. Everyone always goes, "Oh man, I wish I bought Bitcoin," but when it bleeds, they turn bearish immediately. This is the perfect entry point right now. Everyone should be putting a solid amount of money in Bitcoin, regardless of how much they've lost. So this is not financial advice in the show, but I would say dollar cost averaging is a strategy. BTFD, buying the fucking dip, is a strategy, and I have worked my way out of many losses. One that I have recently that has just destroyed me. So I'm done. I'm working at McDonald's, but I've worked my way out of many losses by just doing that. Coinbase, I talked about on the show quite a bit. I bought their IPO, was at 340, then I bought at 320, it was at 340, then I bought at 240, and I bought all the way down to $30. My dollar cost averaged myself down to about $100 of break even, and we saw that Coinbase is at 300. So I worked my way out of that by putting more money into it. I did the same thing with Tesla at one point, which was a really good trade of mine. I have done that with, I wish I'd done it with Bakkt, but Bakkt kind of rugged me, but whatever. You win some, you lose some. And so it is a good strategy. The one thing I would ask you, Kyle, is a lot of people are talking about altcoins and alt season. Alt season was different when back in, say, 2016, 17, when there were hundreds or maybe thousands of tokens, not where we're at 13 million tokens.
Mhm.
I don't think alt season means the same thing as what people think it is. I don't know, in my opinion, if you're going to get an alt season and memes will pump, or all of these little shit coins that are on these dexes and radium, whatever, is going to pump. What I would say is if you're going to have an alt season, I would look at, say, the top 100 or maybe top 200 tokens, especially ones with longevity that've been there, say, since the 16, 17, 18, maybe 20, 21, 22, 2021, 2022, and have been working consistently with a founder-led team to do something without, a lot of people are pivoting back and forth. I've seen a lot of companies start one way, pivot. Pivots are fine, but do they have an overall direction and vision of what they're trying to do? And if they are, how are they performing at like their core competencies of making, sustaining, building a business that is revenue generating with profit? And I think that if you want to look at the tokens in the alt season, look at those companies. Look at the Ethereum, the Solanas, the Cardanos, the even XRP. Look at XYO. Look at Render, Hedera. All these things, people that are just still with founder-led teams building. What do you think alt season means moving into hopefully an alt season?
Yeah, I mean, I think what an alt season is when you see percentage gains on tokens outside of the blue chips that are higher, and like faster and just like pumping really really hard. Um, yeah, and I don't think we've seen that. You know, looking at tokens like I don't know, like things you were just saying, like I would throw Chainlink in there. That's a very good um like
That's a
token to
very
be
good,
watching.
yeah.
Um as like a top token that's like has a really good product.
Again,
But
founder led.
alt yeah, I would say like but like alt season also includes like L1s or L2s that are not super popular too, like uh Internet Computer or Aptos or like OKX's coin, um, Chronos. So some of those types of coins um, outside of your Ethereums and Bitcoins, right? So um, again, the market has pumped a little bit with some of these tokens. So we'll see. Like I think what we're gonna see hopefully is like the proliferation of AI. Like the AI was like every conversation um in Denver here. Like at least or at least if it wasn't, it was underlying to some degree in what the conversation was. And so seeing how and that's another reason to be like bullish on a lot of this stuff is that um like they might take some jobs, but they're gonna hopefully make a lot of wealth along the way, and we can. That's the thing is we have to be better as a society of like at least finding ways to distribute that, um, and that's why crypto projects are good because they can be built to do that a bit easier than proprietary and centralized systems. But yeah, I don't know if we're in an alt season. I wouldn't say that, everybody, despite their losses, like what this listener's comment says, like despite their losses, they should put everything in Bitcoin. It's, I'm a bit more conservative than that.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, I do believe that, what they're buying the dip is a term for a reason. Um, you know, these low entry points and dips are can be viewed as opportunities. So there's some truth there in seeing this as a potential like, okay, could this be a drop before an increase, right? So that's how you make money.
Yep. Speaking of AI, so on the show, we're going to just go through the listener questions. On the show, I mentioned that I think AI is. I had a theory, Kyle, and my theory is that I think a lot of people. I have this one intern that worked for me during my congressional campaign,
Hmm.
and good guy, smart guy, going to Harvard, but he's going to law school, and so he's a sophomore in Harvard right now, political science major, and then he's going to go into law school. And so it's going to be a minimum of 5 more years before he's even, going to a job. And I'm wondering for his sake, if his entry level law clerking, law degree having job is actually going to be something where he can build a career out of, if you are not integrating AI. And I'm looking at you hire all these like low entry level law clerk kind of position people to go over there and do the busy work, the paperwork, the shuffle papers and look up the laws and do all the things that the partners don't really want to do because they've already done that and they're making too much money. That's why you're there. And so I'm wondering if for a lot of these industries and for younger people that are in school or people that are older and trying to figure out a career, if you're not integrating AI into your learning and figuring out how to, I guess, be the manager of AI and utilize that into a beginning, lower level, entry level part of your career, that I think that you might be missing out on your career. And I think the new, say, for example, entry level lawyer will be the one guy, not the 10 people that they hire to do the busy work, but the one person that can lift, do the lift of 10 people with AI within a practice setting. And I think that's going to be the way of the future for most of these entry level positions. And this person said, Epic Piggies 69, love it, said, dude, medicine is the only industry that is safe from AI for the next 10 years. AI isn't reliable enough as of yet. I guess things keep progressing exponentially quick as they've been. That could change this sooner than later because I'm in PA school. And I kind of want to disagree. I think AI and medicine is going to be one of the first things because of the money to be made. The money in medicine and the profit in medicine is the staffing. And so, are you going to be cutting out physician? Hands matter in medicine. Taking the scalpel to the person is important. To do the injection is important. To administer medication and bedside care is important. But it isn't important to do a it is important, but the family medicine or general practitioner or the nurse practitioner that now is going to be just doing diagnostic work to say, hey, I came in here, I have a little lump in my throat, or oh, I have a pain right here at my side, or whatever, to take that and analyze that and then move them to a specialist, I think is going to be gone in a couple of years, to be honest with you. And it's going to be all being reduced and consolidated with AI. What's your opinion on AI in the future? And do you think that there are jobs that are safe from AI or that are entry level, or do you think you agree with my assessment that um, that lower level, entry level positions, if you are getting out of school, if you don't learn AI and become the boss of AI, then I think you're going to be not having a job in your career.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's truth to that. I've had conversations here in Denver about, yeah, that being able to manage different agents, being able to manage AI and use it as a tool and as an instrument for improving yourself. Um, there's definitely, like, I saw this list the other day that was like, jobs that are safe from AI, and it's like, yeah, there's definitely jobs that will be safe, like, um, at least in the short term. Like, you want, your kids at daycare to be watched by a human, that sort of thing. Um, but it's not like even that, like, even like watching children, people use like baby monitors and stuff like that. And there's probably some way that, AI will be incorporated into baby monitors of like, improving the data computation or like um, the processing and observation of that data. Right. So it's going to be used in every industry. And so, if you're that law clerk, for example, there's a lot of different ways I'm sure that you can be using AI to, um, yeah, just like make things better for you. Maybe help review uh, long reports and give you a short synopsis. But if you need to review more finite details, then yes, go look at the actual thing. That's essentially like what in a lot of those settings, like what I think it's useful for, right? Do that, like use it to, just like make things save time, like right. So if you can save time and money, while doing something, and AI is a tool to do that, it's going to be proliferated across society in so many ways, and that's essentially what we're seeing the beginnings of. Um, the thing is again, we're going to have to be able to redistribute the wealth that it creates. Been
Mhm.
talking about just like, okay, well, what if there's like AI bots that trade and become millionaires themselves, right? And so it's like, okay, does this bot should this bot just save all the money? What is it going to do with it? Should it just be
Right.
donated to cancer research or something like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
where can we use this to help improve it? If it's just like going to be creating wealth out of nowhere, and that's now a possibility, how do we use that? And I think there's some moral questions there of like, yeah, maybe like there's a creator who gets a percentage, but then where does that percentage line get drawn? Um, and it's like a tax thing. Where's the threshold? If you're making over $200,000 a year or whatever, do you get more less percentage than whatever? And so again,
Right.
it's I do think these are questions we should have, but is it going to hit everywhere? Is AI going to hit everything? Yeah, it's going to be in every industry. Like, I it's been in every conversation. When I went to Money 2020 in October, it was in every conversation in fintech and in like ed tech. I mean, I even know projects that are using like building um what's the word, homeopathic like medicine. Like the guy's trying to build almost like a one medical for homeopathic medicine using AI. And it's like, yeah, the AI is gonna be able to, like, you tell it, oh, I have all these symptoms, and then it could be like, well, these are the percentages of what it might be. Maybe you have, a cold, maybe you have RSV and have, respiratory problems, and it's
Right.
very similar symptoms, right? So, being able to analyze that stuff, and like that's essentially like what you pay a doctor for now anyways, like doctors who
Right.
have better experience or are just like better at synthesizing that information between things. um Right, that's what you want. So, if AI can help that, it's going to be used for that. And so I mean, I disagree with the listener that health is medicine's not going to be touched by AI. It's totally going
Yeah,
to be.
I totally disagree with that. And actually, even podcasting will be touched by AI. I don't know if you know Notebook LM. I'm over here, and my
Mhm.
buddy works for Google, and he showed me Notebook LM. And what it is a way to upload documents or archives or even links that of things that you want to curate every day. And so, let's just say you want to make crypto news. And so it'll curate your daily crypto news into this, and I'm basically almost telling everybody how not to listen to our show anymore. So maybe I shouldn't be doing this, but um, but you can curate stuff like into this, and then it would literally spit out a podcast, and it's wild actually. It's two hosts based off of your daily. You set up the parameters, and it gives you a daily summary of everything you want to put in there, and then there's two hosts, a male and a female voice, and they go back and forth and talk about it like literally two people with little stupid jokes and dad jokes and like, hey, how you doing today? Well, I drank a little too much last night. It's kind of crazy. And so
You can
podcasting
put
might
it you can put it as slightly hungover.
there's a scale of like humor and stuff like that in there. It's quite wild, bro. That's slightly hungover. That's funny. Um, but like, is podcasting safe? And to be perfectly honest, once you have like big companies like say Spotify or some of these podcasting companies that are just specifically podcasters focused companies, how much do they say, you know what, we really just don't need the talent? I mean, and Hollywood's asking the same thing. How much do we need the talent, or how much do we just buy your likeness, your voice, your IP, or your style, and we make a large language model or an AI agent to do your thing, to do the podcast for you? And actually, one of the guys that we were talking to, we were looking at an editor. If everybody just wants to know, we want to go do more video, so we're going to start with an editor once I stop traveling around the world and Kyle stops traveling around the world. We're going to have an
This
editor
too.
to do more video podcasts, and he has AI agents that looks like you, sounds like you, talks like you, and he's like, hey, if you want to make TikToks, just we make your AI agent, and you give us the content, and your AI would do it for you. You don't even have to be there. And yeah, it looks a little janky right now. Look, it is that uncanny valley area, but it's it's there. This is happening. So is podcasting safe? I don't think it is. especially for a
Mhm.
daily news consumption or something like stuff you should know or some kind of like just something very factual that you can get. You don't need these people anymore unless you like the individuals, and therefore you still program personality. Um, Lastly, Kyle, we are almost at an hour, and the last question is from for you over here. You want to read it? The one from Antonio.
Yeah, it's about Picoin. Just hey Keeley, how are you doing? Been listening to the podcast, but still missed a few episodes here and there. Any mention of Picoin, and would you be able to explain to me what it is? I hear a lot of buzz of it going to $100. Um, I don't think Picoin has the opportunity to go to $100, but I think there it is. Ooh, is it not even listed on CoinGecko?
It's not even close to $100. What are you talking about? Lucky if you can close to a
I
dollar at
think
that.
this is it's got to be listed somewhere else. This I don't know if this is the
Picoin
right one,
2.
but I
Oh,
mean this is another example of why some people think it's like kind of shady. But I mean, my take on it is that yeah, it's more like a data harvesting app. You know, they made everybody do all this crazy KYC. Um, they tried to get everybody connected through referrals, so that you can connect the different people together. Um, and so it's about like I think it's yeah, here we go. So it's at $1.90. I think it's down from where it launched as well. Um, but yeah, I don't. It's definitely not the future of apps and of crypto. It's it's from some Stanford folks, so it has interesting team behind it. But um, it's to me that's essentially kind of what it is. It's data harvesting, and they've done a really good job of building a massive network of users. Um, so a lot of that data is very monetizable. And I don't really see them trying to do much more beyond that. Um, and there is a strong community building on like building um, like like I guess like areas and like marketplaces where you can spend Pi, like Pi Mall and places like that. Um, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem. It's just not a crazy earth-changing app. Like if we're talking about projects, earlier, like a Chainlink, like what utility that provides. Like okay, yeah, Chainlink gives great Oracle um, data and a lot of other stuff like random number functions and things like that. Um, like those that is helpful to projects. So far, I haven't seen um, a lot of ways that Pi is really helping besides just extracting value from users.
that's a really good thing to say. Is like I don't know how Pi is helping, except for just extracting data and value from users. And I think that's what we were like just to go for a full circle with the DPIN and these different projects. When you look at meme coins, yes, number can go up. Yeah, Doge is cool. Yeah, whatever. Pepe, cool. Whatever. What are they actually providing in terms of like value? And yeah, it's fun to trade. And yeah, number went up, and some people got really really rich off of that stuff, and that's amazing. And I hope that everybody that listens to this too does. But what is the what is the value proposition of all these meme coins that are people are making, and the value of long term is that for extracting from you. And when you get sniped or rugged, then you're going to see that the only value was actually your money being put into it. And so a lot of these coins just operate on that basis of let's extract the value from these people, which could be monetary. This one you're talking about is data, your data value, and what are they doing with that data? Are they monetizing it in another way? Are they selling it? Do they have a contract with LexisNexis and they just sell the data, and then the data is flipped to your insurance company? Or The FBI? Who knows?
Yeah, it's just not super clear. And it took them so long because they had to KYC all these people. So, I mean, it was very invasive, the information you had to provide. So, to me, that's just like a red flag, especially in
Mhm.
crypto. When if they're requiring you to give all this information, um, I don't know. I use Coinbase, so I give some of my data and everything to somebody.
Right. Yeah, same. Same, same, same. All right. I think that's it. Is there anything you want to end on, or
Um, no, I mean, what I'll say is that I think there is value to in real life crypto events. I think there is value to, um, yeah, like building this crypto community and blockchain community through these events. Um, and it's a way of finding common values. I think that was a very good thing about like what Eigenlayer, who was the main sponsor of the event, they spoke about that, how people need to like just continue to remember that. What are the value, like it's just Ethereum Denver, right? It's an ETH focused event. Like what are the values of Ethereum? And so, decentralization, um, all that kind of stuff. It's really good. So just reiterate that, especially in this time of geopolitical world where there's centralizing forces and democracies potentially on the decline, that sort of thing.
that's a really good point because in this political world, you see a lot of division, a lot of us versus them, them versus everybody else. And if you go to like say Ethereum conference or ETH Denver or whatever, and even though there's multiple tokens or projects within Ethereum, everybody, it's not on us versus them. It's everybody's pretty cool to hang out with. Everybody's very welcoming. A lot of people might feel like a little intimidated going in there and be like, oh, they either have more money than me because they have more Ethereum or more time, but everybody's really welcoming when it comes to like just, hey, you're here, you want to hang out, you want to talk, let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, a great quote, a great tweet I saw was somebody said, "Remember while you're at ETH Denver that the enemy is not any of these fellow crypto projects. It's AWS, it's Google, it's
Mm,
basically like FANG, those main, Facebook, Apple, whatever,
hmm.
Alphabet. Yeah, so like, yeah, keeping that in mind that there are these invasive proprietary systems out there that still have really, really um, deep teeth in society, and crypto is one of the few that is really trying to decouple it and like liberate people.
Love that, love that. All right, dude, well, have fun
Yeah,
over in ETH Denver.
we'll see. If anyone's at the conference, be sure to hit us up. We can hang
And if
out. Any
anybody's going to
listeners?
be in in Boca Chica watching the SpaceX launch on Monday, let me know. Or in Florida next week. All right, man.
All right. Talk to you soon. Ciao, everybody.
All right. Live is done. I'm uploading.